photographs before the start of Game 2 of this series between the Atlanta Braves and the Toronto Blue Jays. A lot of clouds overhead. There's some rain in the area, but hopefully it'll stay away long enough for us to get this game in tonight. 73 degrees, and again, the wind gusting in from right center field, 13 miles an hour up to 15 miles an hour. Now it's time for the Atlanta Center for Cosmetic Dentistry Big Smile Seat Upgrade. And there's JJ, and he's found some lucky fans and is now upgrading their seats. Keep watching to see where their new seats are going to be tonight. Sponsored by the Atlanta Center for Cosmetic Dentistry. Starting lineup for the Toronto Blue Jays tonight. Leading it off will be Marco Scutaro. Aaron Hill, tied for the Major League lead in hits. Bats second, then Alex Rios and Vernon Wells. Adam Linz in left field. Scott Rowland, the veteran, at third base. Then Overbay, Barajas, and Jansen. Casey Jansen, the pitcher, first outing for him this year after missing all of last year with a shoulder problem. Derek Lowe makes his 10th start. 5-2, a 3.58 ERA. 1-1 here at Turner Field with a 3.57 ERA. Lefties hitting only a $1.60 against him. Right-handers 3.09 with 2 homers.
And it'll be Scutaro, Hill, and Rios to lead things off in the first inning. First pitch, grounded left side, and wow, quick look at Deory Hernandez, first down.
Yeah, how about that? A late change to the Braves lineup will show you the defense in the outfield. It's going to be Anderson, Schaefer, and Francoeur. You knew that Martin Prado would be back out there tonight for Chipper Jones, but a late scratch. Yunel Escobar has a strained hip flexor, so Deory Hernandez gets his first start at short. Johnson and Kochman on the right side, Brian McCann doing the catching.
And Aaron Hill comes to the plate. 349 batting average. You mentioned tied for the Major League lead in hits with 68.
He was the fastest guy to 50 hits in their franchise history. The start of the year. Did it in 31 games.
All the more impressive the job that Kenshin did last night. I mean, you look at the gaudy numbers for this Blue Jays squad, and really, I mean, he shut down a good hitting Toronto team.
First time they've been shut out all year, Mark.
2-0 pitch. Again, grounded. Again, Hernandez. 2 down.
Good sign for Derek Lowe. 2 up, 2 ground ball outs.
And Hernandez making his first start. Any worry about getting the jitters out? He got right into the game, right?
Well, you love that if you're Deory. You want a couple of chances to settle in and just play baseball.
Rios comes to the plate. 0 for his last 6. 266 hitter on the season. 5 homers, 21 RBIs. 0-1. Hitting .297 in his last 22 games. Fouls it back. So, I think better as of late, the average going up.
He's a good player, well-rounded player. Very good arm in right field. Can run a little.
Away with the 0-2. Outfield plays him straight away. Schaefer standing in his customary spot in center field. He never seems to be perfectly in center field. It was just a touch, a couple of steps over towards the left field side. Swing and a miss, and that'll do it. 3 up and 3 down in the top of the first. No runs across for the Blue Jays. The Braves coming to bat.
Kids out in the field getting an autograph and greeting the players when they took the field tonight. It was servicemen. That was a wonderful gesture on the part of the Atlanta Braves. And speaking of the Braves, here's their starting lineup tonight for Bobby Cox. And with Escobar scratched from the lineup, Kelly Johnson moves back to the top of the order. Casey Kochman bats second. Garrett Anderson, then Brian McCann, who's been very hot since he came back from the DL. Martin Prado, then Jeff Francoeur. Yory Hernandez will bat seventh in his first start, then Schaefer and Lowe. And on the mound, a young man who can't wait to get going, and that's Casey Janssen, 2 years removed from surgery.
A special outing for him. First start back. His first offering missed to Johnson, who was 0 for 3 in last night's game.
Those are his rehab numbers. And let me correct myself. It's not 2 years removed from his surgery, which was a year ago in March. But he hasn't pitched since the 07 season.
Fisted right back to him, and he gets a quick start right into the mix. 1-3 for the first out.
Here's the defense behind Jansen tonight. Lind, Wells, and Rios in the outfield. They can all go get them. Rowland and Scudero on the left side. Aaron Hill and Lyle Overbay on the right side. And Rod Barajas, who did such a good job last night catching Roy Halladay, again back behind the dish.
And Casey Kochman comes up for Atlanta. First pitch misses away. Kochman 1 for 3 last night. And of course, most important batted ball of the game.
Yeah, the sacrifice fly on a tough pitch from a lefty. Casey Jansen's a big guy, 6'4", 210 out of Huntington Beach, California, former 4th round pick. We're actually at UCLA. He did a lot of DHing and played in the outfield some before becoming a pitcher.
He led all Jays relievers with 72 2/3 innings pitched back in 07.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. See, this is the first start for him since 06, July of 06, because in 07 he was used exclusively out of the bullpen.
2.35 ERA out of the bullpen. This one grounded and rolling up with it and over to first, 2 down.
Well, he smothered that short hop, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Always has had good hands. The first time we laid eyes on him in Philadelphia and watched him come in and quickly glove that short hop. Soft, good hands for a great big hulk of a guy.
Similar to the ball that almost ate up Prado last night, last out of the inning from the win for Atlanta.
It was an exciting play, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, it was. Brings up Anderson, Garrett Anderson for the Braves. He fouls the first one off. Getting back to Jansen, 2.35 ERA in 07 as a reliever. I mean, he was solid for them. Second on the team in saves with 6 and third on the team with that ERA.
Well, he'll be a real nice addition to the rotation if he gets off to a good start, feels good, and more importantly, bounces back from this start. His number's good, as we showed you in all his rehab stints, but let's face it, that's not quite like facing major league hitters.
One pitch fouled off. We've got 2 down, bottom of the first, no score yet. You mentioned a late scratch, the hip flexor for Yunel Escobar. Should point out, I saw him taking batting practice before the game. Had no clue that he was injured, so didn't look like it was a major. I think strain is the key word there. They're listing him as day-to-day. We could see him back.
Yeah, just taking a cautious approach to it. Make sure it doesn't develop to anything bad. Might see him back in there tomorrow. Braves at a bit of a disadvantage with respect to Jansen because he hasn't pitched in over a year, and some of the guys, they've faced him before, like Kochman and Anderson, but that was a long time ago, and it's tough to give somebody else a scouting report on him.
It's always nice to have a book on a guy, right?
Yes, it is.
On the other side, Derek Lowe has faced the Blue Jays a number of times.
Both as a starter and a
and
closer.
Yep. 40 appearances. Yep. 9 starts. That one fouled back. Still 1-2. Anderson with a good at bat here.
Yeah, and a mini shift on him on the left side with the shortstop Scudero playing up the middle. And look how far off the line Roland is. That's a little bit like they were playing McCann last night. Although at times it was even more exaggerated than that for Bryan.
And he whips it into right field for a base hit. 1 on for the Braves with 2 down here in the bottom of the first.
Garrett's now hit in 9 of his last 10. So his bat's heating up. And you make the mistake of thinking you can come up and in on him. Big mistake. Quick hands inside to pull the barrel of the bat to the baseball and lines another one to right.
Watch him take BP. You often hear the words professional hitter.
Yeah.
Talk about a guy who's hot. Brian McCann coming to the plate now.
Yeah, Garrett's fun to watch because of how hard he hits the ball to all fields. And here's that more exaggerated shift for Bryan with 3 infielders on the right side, and you see Roland over there playing shortstop.
It's a big shortstop. And McCann tries to lay down the bunt for the base hit. Jansen off the mound in a great play to get McCann at first base to end the inning. So nice effort by Bryan to lay down the bunt and get the hit, but doesn't work this time. No score after 1. Blue Jays and Braves.
And DirecTV Channel 17. Check your local listings for other cable systems. The Braves play here on Peachtree TV in HD. Yeah, baby. Woo!
Thank you, JJ. Nice crowd on hand for the game this afternoon, and what a great job the Braves did, Joe, with the pregame ceremonies here on Memorial Day weekend.
Just wonderful.
Vernon Wells leading things off for Toronto. We showed you a couple of pictures with the Braves, Chipper Jones signing autographs, the soldiers out on the field. They had a giant American flag out. It was really a moving ceremony. Wells grounds it left side. Cutting in front is Prado, and he makes the play. 1 down.
That was a tough play for Diori Hernandez to know whether to come get the ball or stay out of Prado's way. And at the last second, he made the right decision as Martin cut in front of him so that they didn't collide. Nice play by Martin, who turned in that beauty last night to end the ball game. And what an unbelievable play it was for him to stay hooked up to that baseball after it came loose.
Adam Lead coming up now for Toronto. Another one of the impressive hitters in this Blue Jays lineup. Takes the first pitch for a strike. Tied for 4th in the American League with 35 RBIs. Has been a DH for them largely, but is playing left field without the advantage of the DH against the National League team, and he promptly dumps one into left. Runner on.
Yeah, he's more known for his offense than his defense, certainly, and that snaps an 0 for 8 for him. But a good-looking young hitter. Here's that play last night with the Braves leading 1-0. Blue Jays had a runner at third, 2 out, a tying run, and this play is what ended it. It got loose from Martin, turned into a close play to get Vernon Wells. That ended it. The Braves very proud of themselves for that 1-0 win, and they should have been.
Scott rolling up for Toronto now, takes the first pitch for a strike. As good a job as he did focusing on getting the ball, a lot even tougher to make sure you make it. You so often see guys throw that one away, right?
Especially when you know you got to hurry. And he did get a little help from Casey Kochman on the other end, but it was just a wonderful play.
Like we said, tough act to follow tonight. That was an unbelievable baseball game. You had a little bit of everything, and you know, not a whole lot of offense, but if you are a true baseball fan, you loved last night's game.
No question.
0-2 to Roland. Runner on, 1 down. Grounder up the middle. Hernandez going to do it by himself. Steps on the bag over to first. 6 unassisted to 3 for the double play, and nothing doing for the Blue Jays in the top of the second. Braves will give it a try again after this timeout. Pitching today.
Yeah,
Gwinnett,
he's in action tonight, just up the road and at the home of the Gwinnett Braves. They are in a rain delay. Hopefully he had not warmed up.
Prado goes after that offering from Jansen, and the count goes 1-1 to him. And maybe that's good news for us. Maybe that rain is staying a little bit further north.
Yes, but there's other activity.
A guy can hope, can't he?
Yes.
1-2 to Prado.
Rave reviews today from a scout here watching this series about Martin Prado and what he does for the Braves, what he gives them in terms of flexibility and swinging the bat as well.
Grounds it right side. 1 down.
Teams everywhere looking for a guy like Martin Prado to be able to put in any spot in the batting order, any spot on the infield, and always do a good job.
That came into that at bat hitting .288. And Jeff Francoeur comes up now. 4 for his last 10 over the last 3 games. So maybe Jeff getting back on track here.
Had an infield hit and a stolen base last night.
Shoots it right back up the middle for a base hit. First offering right to center field, man on.
He jumped on this fastball, put a real pretty swing on it. And right back where it came from. Jansen's fastball so far has been in the high 80s, but that one was in the middle of the plate. And fans, it's time for the know-how question of the game built by the Home Depot. And if you have a question for us, send us an email. And if chosen, Mark and I will answer it later in the game. Send your email to braves@peachtreetv.com. Please tell us your name, where you're from, and what your dog's name is, or your cat. For more saving, more doing, that's the power of Home Depot.
What's your dog or cat's name?
We have Georgia and Murphy. Dog and cat.
Maybe we'll get some more fans with naming their dog Dior.
Dior would be good as a tribute.
Hernandez making his first appearance of the game. Hit .355 at AAA. He wasn't messing around. He was just hitting. I mean, .355 is an impressive number.
Had 20 RBIs. We were talking about him last night. He got a bat and grounded out his first major league at bat. But Terry Pendleton really raving about him and his work in spring training and how well he was swinging the bat early in camp when he got a lot of at bats.
You mentioned Frank Core with the stolen base last night over at first. Don't he and McCann have a little competition? McCann ground ball left side. McCann with the stolen base last night as well. 5-4 to 3, and wow, that quickly they get out of it. Nice job on the double play by the Blue Jays, and nothing across for the Braves in the second. So still no score. Toronto and Atlanta. We'll be back.
Seat Upgrade, sponsored by Dr. Deborah Gray King and the Atlanta Center for Cosmetic Dentistry. A lot of smiles right there behind the tarp, right down on the field level. The Atlanta Center for Cosmetic Dentistry, the place in Atlanta to get a beautiful smile.
Singing along with Bruce Springsteen there behind the tarp. Lyle Overbay to lead things off for Toronto. That's pitch number 16 here in the top of the third for Derek Lowe. Very efficient.
I like that for 6 outs.
Overbay, the only guy who seemed to have any idea what Kenshin Kawakami was doing last night. 2 hits.
He was patient and looked like he was looking for that slow breaking ball and got it twice out over the plate where he could do something with it. Perhaps the only 2 real mistakes that Kawakami made all night.
Interestingly enough, after the efficient first and second for Lowe, he starts Overbay off 3-0. 4 straight balls. Wow. he was trying to paint that outside corner over and over again and just couldn't get it.
And wouldn't get the call. Kawakami had some fun last night. I mean, I don't know. We're going to have to come up with a new name for some of these dance moves he's got on the mound, but check him out. Kawakami kick right there. He was having some fun.
Well, so just about everybody in the ballpark the way he was throwing the ball. I'll tell you what, had a lot of fans dancing in the aisles as well. And yeah, you know, it was nice to see. And you know, he has to have put so much pressure on himself coming over from Japan and the high expectations and being a big league player and all that entails. So it was really enjoyable to see him get it going last night.
He was asked after the game when was the last time he had a game that he remembered being that important to him, and he said, I don't remember one.
There you go. Rod Barajas at the plate. The catcher for Toronto with a man at first in the form of Overbay. Grounds it and through for a hit. So 2 on quickly for Toronto here in the third. Barajas at first. Overbay now at second. Now it's time to take a look at the SunTrust Solid Performers, brought to you by SunTrust. Live solid, bank solid. National League leaders in ERA amongst starting pitchers entering the day. And there you go, Braves right up there.
And this team right here, the Cardinals, doing great work. Cardinals doing great work in recent days. They got Chris Carpenter back. They've given up 1 run, their starters have, in their last 37 2/3 innings.
And Jansen, the pitcher, comes up, turns to bunt. Halladay laid down a bunt last night. I know Cito Gaston during spring training tells his pitchers, just take pitches. I don't care. Strike out. I don't want you getting hurt if they hit in spring training. And there was talk he might do the same thing here in Atlanta. But situations like this, I get the guy to try and lay one down. And Jansen does that. Prado to first. 1 out.
Good job by Casey. And again, it bears reminding the fans that he was a DH/outfielder while at UCLA. So he's done that type thing perhaps a lot in his life before he got to the big leagues.
And that'll bring up the top of the lineup. Marco Scutaro grounded out to short in his first at bat. Leads the American League in walks with 36. Well, we'll try and regain his composure here. Outfield straight away. Infield back. Not contesting the run.
Like the Braves, when Escobar's leading off and has 21 RBIs, it's a luxury to have a guy who drives in runs at the top of your order, and Scutaro has 20.
Lowe gets behind 2-0. Scutaro was 0 for 4 in last night's game. Lifted down the right field line, and it is fair. Both runs will score. Scutaro going for second. The throw not in time. A 2-run double from Marco Scutaro, 2-0 Toronto.
Again, he can drive him in. Came in hitting .303 with runners in scoring position, and as a team, the Blue Jays third in the American League in this category. He got a breaking ball up and just took it the other way. So the bunt pays dividends, getting 2 guys in scoring position, and the Blue Jays with their first runs of the series.
And still with a runner in scoring position. Scutaro standing at second. And Aaron Hill now comes to the plate. He drives one to the right side, right at Francoeur, though, who will haul it in for the second out. Blue Jays squad maybe a little bit frustrated with what went on last night. Came out here swinging the bats.
Not used to getting the clamps put on them like Kenshin did last night.
And Alex Rios comes to the plate. Struck out in his first at bat to end the first inning. 1-0. Low with a long look to second. This one lifted again to right field. Frank Core, no problem. So, 2 runs across on 2 hits for Toronto. They lead it 2-0. Braves coming to bat in the bottom of the 3rd. Home run inning where one lucky fan will have the chance to win free airfare for 2 if the Braves hit a home run during the inning. Visit PeachtreeTV.com/Braves for official rules and enter for your chance to win. AirTran Airways, go. There's nothing stopping you. Jordan Schaefer to lead things off for the Braves here in the bottom of the 3rd. Again, they trail it 2-0. Casey Janssen staked to a little lead here in his return to the mound. Scudero up with it, and we've got quickly 1 down here.
A lot of ground ball outs already for Jansen as well. That's 6. Good sinking action on his fastball. Again, around 88, 89. He's worked on a slider and a change.
And he's got the pitcher to go up against now. Derek Lowe comes to the plate with a 143 average on the season. And he drives it into left. Wow. Let's get it going, guys. I need some help here. Let's score some runs.
Yeah. Jansen threw that one too hard. That was 91, and it was straight. Derek with a big smile after raking one. He did that to Santana up in New York. He got a pitch. I think it was the first pitch to him and just blistered it.
And he's not a small guy either. He's a big boy. 6'6", 230. Hit the ball hard. That brings the top of the lineup up. Kelly Johnson leading it off for Atlanta today with Escobar. Again, day-to-day strained hip flexor, so that's why he is not in the lineup for Atlanta. Looking forward to seeing Escobar some more in that leadoff spot. Just 3 games now. He's struggled a little bit, but it'd be nice to get him back quickly and back in that spot. Johnson to left, just over the outstretched arm of the shortstop. Scudero with 2 on for the Braves.
Kelly going the other way. He got something down and away, and second time through the order. Let's see, Mark, if the Braves are able to make some adjustments. That was a fastball running away from him, and rather than try to pull it, Kelly went with the pitch and hit it hard. Probably learned something from Derek Lowe watching his approach.
That brings up Casey Kochman. Grounded out to third in his first at bat. Already twice the offense tonight that we had last night. I thought it was interesting. First 1-0 home win for the Braves last night since September 25th, 2004.
Yeah.
Wow.
Been a while.
The 1-0 pitch to Kochman. Foul back.
As impressive, too. Snapped a streak of something like 26 straight games in which Roy Halladay had received a decision, either a win or a loss. And last night, his first no decision in a long, long time.
I guess that stat tells you the guy goes deep in a game. Is that what that does?
Yeah, it does. A lot of innings, a lot of complete games for him.
Two and one now to Kochman.
I love Wayne Berry's camera down there with the American flag on it. Nice decorative touch from the dugout cameraman. Well done, Wayne.
Nice. Lifted high to center field. Wells back at the wall. Off the wall after a valiant effort. 2 runs will come in. Kochman started for third. Nobody on second, so he will go back easily. A 2-run double for Casey Kochman. His 16th double of the season.
That just missed getting out of here. He put a charge in this. This fastball didn't have much movement on it. Vernon Wells made a great effort. In fact, he got some leather on it as he jumped into the wall. Kelly Johnson was already around second and was going to be able to score easily. And with nobody covering at second because of the relay that was set up, Casey could make a big turn. Boy, what a charge he put into that and turned the wind around.
I got to admit, the G and gone was almost out of my mouth on that one. I thought for sure it was going to carry as well. And Garrett Anderson up at the plate. He lifts one to right, but no carry on that one as Rios hauls it in. Check out there.
Go point to Brian Snitker as he rounded third. That may have been who he was looking at when he got the base hit.
Assume that was him under the towel as well, cooling down after that big run for him. Brian McCann at the plate now.
And obviously with a runner on base, they can't put on the shift that they had on Brian earlier. Roland's got to respect the fact there's a runner at second base. So not quite the overshift that they had on before.
Can't ground it out in his first at bat. All over that off-speed pitch, but way out in front.
And overall great numbers since he came back from the DL.
Has hit in 10 of 12 games since his return.
A lot of off-speed pitches suddenly from Jansen after his fastball was getting ripped this inning. But it does make a difference for hitters of this quality to see a guy second time, just to see the ball out of his hand and getting a feel for speed.
1-2 to McCann. Just got a piece of it.
That was his slowest off-speed pitch, that's for sure. I couldn't tell if it was just a straight change or a big curve, but Brian had to wait a long time before fouling it into Barajas, who couldn't hang on to it.
Scudero has moved behind second base now. Kind of a mini little shift. There you see him. If we're going to see that more from other teams, the shift on Brian McCann.
Colorado played a little bit of a shift on him. So did Arizona earlier in this series, or this homestand rather.
Keeping Casey honest at second. Jansen stepped off. Tied at 2, bottom of the third. Brian McCann at the plate, Kochman at second. Martin Prado waiting on deck, hoping to have a shot here in the bottom of the third inning. Count goes full.
Full count. First base open. A lot of change-ups in this at bat. See if he throws another one. Yep.
Again, McCann way out in front.
Get that one down near our seat upgrade.
Now, if you don't know you're sitting that close, maybe you don't bring your gloves to the game. You got to make sure you're paying attention.
Hence the sponsor, Atlanta Cosmetic Dentistry.
Very nice. Full count, 2 down, bottom of the third. The Blue Jays put 2 on the board in the top of the inning, and the Braves answered right back. The 2-run double from Casey Kochman. He stands at second. McCann adjusting the shades, getting ready to do it again.
Looks like Brian is looking for the fastball, but still able to adjust to his breaking stuff. Throwing the fastball might be a big mistake.
There's another one off.
That was well placed. Outer part of the plate may have been on the corner. Not much he could do with it. Got to be a 9-pitch at bat. Good work by Brian, who fell behind 0-2.
There's the fastball, and it's shot right over to Overbay at first, and that will end the inning. This has been the Airtran Airways home run inning of the game. Be sure to register at PeachtreeTV.com/Braves for official rules and your chance to win.
It's often said the guy who made the great play leads off the next inning, and Vernon Wells almost made a great play. Watch how close he came to this over-the-shoulder catch off the glove and then off the wall on Casey Kochman's double. It was almost a brilliant play, but fortunately for the Braves, a 2-run double.
And you and I have talked before with about how one play can really have a big effect on a game. Those runners were running. It probably would have been a double play had he caught that ball and ended the inning. Instead, the Braves wind up with 2 runs.
Yeah, quite possibly, because Kelly was already around second base on the third base side of second. But important for Derek to come right back now and get a 1-2-3 inning and keep the momentum.
He threw 15 pitches in the first 2 innings, threw 15 last inning. As Toronto did push to a cross. Wells grounded out his last at bat. First out of the second. It's going to be a tough one for Prado. Got to be quick. But he gets him.
How about Martin? I mean, you got a fast runner, and granted, Vernon Wells has lost a little bit of speed because of some hamstring injuries in his career. But this is a tough play because Prado's playing back. He's got to come in near the bag, glove, and throw off balance on the run, and made an accurate, strong throw to get a fast runner. Good play.
What's the saying? Hurry up, but don't rush.
Yeah.
We talked about how he did it last night, and he did it again there. He did not look like he was rushing at all, but just very quick hands.
Very solid player.
Adam leaned at the plate now for Toronto. The 0-1 pitch to him. Misses. Count goes even. Singled in his last at bat. Grounded right side. 2 down.
Back to the ground ball outs. That's a good sign. 2 down here in the 4th inning. Here's tonight's Toyota Tacoma trivia question. Cue the truck. And entering today, who are the 3 National League teams with the best overall interleague records? National League teams, best 3. I have the answer for you in the bottom half of the inning.
You know this one?
I know 2 of them. I don't know if I know the 3rd.
Scott Rowland fouls first offering back.
I know 2 of them are in the National League East, and one of them is playing in front of us. If that gives you any hint.
Well, that helps. So that should help me out a little bit. Well, the thing I'm upset about is Dave and I were talking about this before the start of the game, and I need to pay better attention to the game. Drifting into foul territory. 0-2.
Well, the Braves got some help today from the Yankees, who rallied to beat the Phillies in the 9th inning. Brad Lidge gave it up. So that helps.
2-run homer from A-Rod in the 9th, and then it was Cabrera who drove in the go-ahead run for the Yankees. One and 2. Yeah, a few games already in the books today. Texas over Houston 6-3. And you mentioned St. Louis and all the success their starting pitchers have had. 5-0. They win over Kansas City. Now that is the I-70 series, correct?
That's correct.
And do you know that Texas? You know what Texas and Houston play for?
Do not.
The Silver Boot.
Silver Boot.
That's for the series for the season, but I believe they call that the Lone Star State Series.
I like it.
I think 9 of the interleague series have names. I don't know. I think I know 2 of them. You heard both.
Well, I think the Dodgers and the Angels have the Freeway Series.
Right, there you go. You got 3.
I see fans moving to higher ground. I don't know if it's beginning to rain. I don't see it, but I see fans moving up in the upper deck, like to get under cover. Oh, good pitch. Did he go?
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 2-2 the score. Toronto hitting here in the top of the 4th. Rolling. That's a fair ball right down the left field line. Well hit. he will trot into second with a 2-out double.
Scott Rowland's always been one of my favorite players to watch from the time he broke in with the Phillies because of the way he went about his business. He plays hard, he runs hard, he swings hard. And if it weren't for the shoulder injuries of the last really 3 or 4 years, his career numbers would be a lot better than they are. But he's had such trouble with his right shoulder after a collision at first base, I believe, with, and now his name escapes me. Remember the big, tall Korean first baseman that played for the Cubs and then in Florida? Hee-Seop Choi. Thanks, Dave.
I was getting ready to paint the picture of you searching.
Oh, it would have been a cloudy picture.
Overbay at the plate. 1-1 to count to him. He walked and scored back in the third. Again, 2 for 3 yesterday, and the only guy who seemed to figure out Kenshin Kawakami. 260 on the season. Seems like every guy on this team has at least 5 home runs. You look up, 5 home runs, and then 5 home runs.
Well, they came into the series leading the American League in runs, hits, average, RBIs, total bases, third in homers. Quite an offensive team that gets hurt by not having a DH to add another bat to their lineup.
You spell offense with a C there, correct?
Yes, you do.
Make sure we get that right.
And hockey with a capital H.
Exactly. The 2-1 offering. They play over base straight away. And Billy Johnson a little deep in the outfield grass at second base. Takes it outside again. Low look again, seeming to go for that outside corner, trying to get a call or get somebody to go after it. They wouldn't bite. Overbay wouldn't bite there.
Yeah, I don't think he was offering him anything to hit, Mark. Even with Barajas' success at driving in runs and hitting with runners in scoring position as good as anybody on their ball club, I don't think he's willing to give in to the left-handed hitter.
I noticed that last night, the Braves really going after Barajas despite his lofty numbers. He comes in hitting .341 in his last 25 games. But I think he's going to have to go deeper into the season with numbers like that to get people to believe him.
He is a first pitch fastball hitter, as you just saw there. Good fastball hitter. And Brian McCann will chat with Derek now that they're ahead in the count about what they want to do. Maybe it may have something to do with signs with Rowland at second base too. They may change it up a little bit.
You're mentioning first pitch fastball hitter for Barajas. And is he historically not as successful, obviously, as he's been thus far this season?
Good pitch there. That was a fastball. Again, his numbers, Lowe's numbers against left-handers, drastically better than against right-handers, primarily because he can't run the sinker away from them like he can lefties. The natural sink to his fastball going down and away from them. That's where the slider comes in, and it's not as good an out pitch for him as the sinker.
See what he does here. 0-2. Ken already been out once. Apparently there might be a little bit of an issue here with the sign, so they'll have a chat. Gloves over face.
Well, historically, this is a tough park to see the signs once it gets dark, but it's still fairly light out. Maybe it's just the sequence that they were having trouble getting together on.
So we'll do it again. So they go out for that visit. Is it they get the sequence straight, or does he just say fastball?
No, they already knew what they were going to throw, so there was no sign.
Right, exactly.
Target away, tried to really make that sinker back up. Tailing action, really a good pitch, and Barajas spoiled it.
This one misses outside. Again, it's Rowland at second base. Overbay after the walk at first. 2 down here in the top of the 4th. Game tie.
Back-to-back breaking balls. I thought that was an outstanding fastball that Barajas fouled off that we showed you the replay on. Let's see if they go back to that. Maybe a little bit off the plate where he can't reach it. Another good pitch. That was not the tailing fastball. That was just the flat-out sinker and a good one.
Got the plate just low. The count goes full.
Let's just go down.
Ooh. Swing and a miss on the off-speed pitch. 82 miles an hour got him on that one. So Lowe works out of it. No runs after 1 hit and 2 men left. Still tied at 2 at Turner Field.
Black 2, Monday at 9 on Peachtree TV. Great movies every night.
Well, a good sign that folks still enjoying their drinks and food outside. The clouds continue to roll over Turner Field, but so far so good as far as the weather is concerned. Tied at 2, we go to the bottom of the 4th inning of play. Look at Yunel Escobar sitting this one out with a strained right hip flexor. Martin Prado leading things off for the Braves here in the bottom of the 4th. Toronto's starting pitcher, Casey Jansen, his first offering over for a strike.
Those fans that were migrating up, moving a little quicker now as it begins to rain.
I see the mist falling now and the lights. Yep. As soon as I said, it's a good sign. Broadcaster cheeks. 1-1 to Prado. Do players play differently, approach the game differently when the weather is like
Yeah,
this?
there's a little more immediacy. Let's get a run. Let's get the lead. Especially this inning, because then if you've got the lead going to the 5th and you get the 3 outs in the top of the 5th, then it's an official contest no matter what happens.
Is it conscious?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, sure. You know, you can feel it. You know that rain's imminent, so, hey, let's get a run on the board, boys.
Grounded rolling at 3rd. 1 down.
And with 1 out, time for tonight's Toyota Tacoma Trivia Question Answer. Entering today, 3 National League teams with the best overall interleague records. I think it's the Florida Marlins, the Atlanta Braves, and I'm going to guess the third one is still in the East. I'm going to go with the Phillies.
I'm going to go Cincinnati.
Cardinals.
Wow.
But 2 in the East. Boy, the Marlins are scuffling, though.
Woo.
Off to that 11-1 start. They are now 19-24 after getting shellacked last night.
Volstead sent down to the minors.
Was he really?
After last night's game.
Oh.
Francoeur off the wall and left. Stand-up double.
You know what I like about this at bat is that looked like a hanging breaking ball, a bad pitch. But Jeff was still focused and locked in on trying to hit the ball up the middle, so he didn't spin off this ball and pull it foul. It was inside, but he kept his hands inside it, and that's what allowed him to keep it fair. If he had been bailing and thinking about spinning on the back leg and pulling the ball, he would have hooked that foul for sure. Excellent swing.
I don't want to get too excited, but how about 6 for his last 12 for Jeff Francoeur? He might be really starting to turn things around.
Good start. After a rough May, finished strong.
And Diori Hernandez comes to the plate now. Got the start again tonight at shortstop. With the day-to-day injury for Yunel Escobar. And Diori came into the game, got 2 ground balls in the first inning, and here he's got an opportunity to drive in the go-ahead run with rain imminent here at Turner Field.
Laser Baker looked up the most wins in the National League and interleague play. Marlins, Nationals, and Braves 1, 2, 3, and the Mets are number 4. How about that? National League East 1 through 4, and then the Phillies are 8.
Braves 8-7 last year in interleague play. One of only 3 National League teams with a winning record. That one over the outside corner for a strike. Here's a look at last night's interleague action. A couple of highlights for you.
Second 20 of the year to hit for the cycle. Kadir.
Bringing one now to Hernandez. And how about Jake Peavy? I think I'll stay here in San Diego. 10 strikeouts.
That was not an interleague, though, boys. That was a National League game.
Yeah, but it's on interleague. I'm with you. Ball 4. Hernandez trots down to first. 2 on. Now for the Braves in the bottom of the 4th.
Need to try to take the lead. Not trusting what the weather is going to bring to us. There's a big line of ugly colors on the radar, so the sooner you get the lead, the better.
First walk of the game issued by Jansen. And it brings up Jordan Schaefer.
But on that game that Peavy pitched, maybe the Cubs should be the team making a pitch for him in Chicago instead of the White Sox.
They did before the start of the season, right? I have a feeling that's not the last Peavy trade.
Yeah, not the last pitch
story we're gonna hear about. Yeah, very nice. Nubbed to Jansen. He's going to go to first. I think he could have had Francoeur at third. He records the out. 2 down.
Well, you know that Jordan Schaefer would like to have this back. This was an excuse me swing. And you're right. All he had to do was go to third for the force play. Roland was there, but he decided to get the easy out, and he's got the pitcher out. Which was not an easy out last time.
That's right. Roped one into left field, the big man. Another chance to help himself out here. See, you get a big hit like that, you're not going to get all fastballs anymore, right?
No, if there's one thing, though, about that pitch to a position player, They might have been able to stay back a little better because Jansen really slowed his motion down and kind of telegraphed it.
Slap through on the right side. One runs in. They'll hold Hernandez up, but Derek Lowe drives in the go-ahead run for the Braves in the bottom of the fourth. They lead it 3-2.
And you know what? He threw in the same pitch. You don't do that to a pitcher. You don't speed his bat up by throwing him something off speed twice in a row. But there's the pitch, and it's up, and Derek stayed back this time. Nice piece of hitting going the other way. Frank Coor came in, not sure if that trailing runner was going to score, so he's trying to kick the bat out of the way. But that's a big run with threatening weather around.
When we talk about interleague play, there is a great example. Here's a National League team with a pitcher that knows how to handle the bat and does a great job with it, gives his team the go-ahead run.
Well, it's baseball. You know, there's a little strategy involved when the pitcher has to hit.
Still 2 down. Kelly Johnson fouls off the first.
Sorry, Mark.
No,
it's not just everybody go up and swing from their heels with a DH. There's a little something there that's more baseball. And even if you're a DH disciple in the American League, when you see baseball played with the pitcher, there's got to be something there that you really enjoy watching because it's the old way. It's the old-fashioned way. Good placement of that base hit.
And you really enjoy it when you see a pitcher who can handle it. Who can handle the bat.
Right.
A little tete-a-tete on the mound between Barajas and Jansen, and we're ready to go again. 0-1 the count to Johnson. Hernandez at third, Derek Lowe, the pitcher, at first after driving in the go-ahead run. So we now know where Joe Simpson stands on the DH or not to DH argument.
No, I like the National League style a lot better.
Now, you like the National League style. Are you okay with it different in the two different leagues?
Not really. But we were talking about this last night. Skip always had the idea that maybe in interleague play, you should play with a DH in National League parks and play with the pitchers hitting in American League parks. And I thought, hey, that's a good idea.
The rationale being?
Let the fans from each side see it differently.
I like it. 2-1. Right at over base. So that's the last out of the inning. But not before the Braves drive in the go-ahead run. Derek Lowe with the base hit to help his own cause. Atlanta leads it 3-2 as we head to the fifth.
For 5 straight years. Check into Jamison Inns and experience our new Pillow-Top premium beds and the best in Southern hospitality. Jamison Inns, you deserve a new deal.
Inclement weather? What inclement weather? Just fine in here, thank you very much. Atlanta leads it 3-2. We head to the 5th inning. Still a bit of a mist falling here at Turner Field. Ominous clouds, but so far nothing that should threaten play, as the pitcher Casey Jansen leads things off for Toronto here in the 5th.
There's some good shots from the 755 club. People enjoying the ball game from that vantage point.
Talk about great names and ballparks and names of ballparks. The 755 club's going to be the one of the great names in baseball for a location.
Yeah, it's terrific. What a nice place. I love those seats out there outside the stadium club, and especially the ones above the banners that mark all the championships.
1-2 now, the count to Jansen. Speaking of names, Cleveland up on Cincinnati in the Buckeye series. No score yet in the Citrus series between Tampa Bay and Florida. They're in the 3rd. Cleveland and Cincinnati in the 2nd. Not sure what Milwaukee and Minnesota is. No score there either. Jansen grounds it. Team Prado busy again. 1 down. We'll bring up the top of the order. Marco Scutaro. Doubled in his last at bat. As the announcement comes here in the press box, 2,000 innings for Derek Lowe in his career now after completing the 4th.
It's a nice milestone for him. 35 years old.
And if there's a reason why the Braves went after a guy like Derek Lowe, there's the number right there. He is a guy who's going to give you innings. That is exactly what they wanted this season. Prado again in between hop on that one. 2 down.
Well, we had that graphic at the beginning of the year that was so impressive about how I think presently active players, only 3 guys had not been on the disabled list and had pitched at least 10 years. Derek Lowe and Javier Vasquez were 2 of the 3. Livan Hernandez was the other.
Right. And it was such a frustrating season last year for the Braves with the injuries on the mound. And not that it was any of the pitchers' fault that they got hurt, but when the Braves went looking for arms, they wanted guys that they thought they could rely on. Aaron Hill at the plate now for Toronto. 0-1 the count to him.
Well, they weren't the only suitors. The Mets tried, the Phillies tried, but the Braves were the ones that made the best offer for Derek Lowe, and I believe he's very happy with his choice. I know the Braves are.
Back up the middle for a base hit. Toronto with a runner on here in the 5th. Well, Frank Wren getting a lot of credit for giving Lowe the extra year. It wasn't so much the money. The Braves were willing to give him an extra year on that contract, and then again looks like a genius move right now. The Mets, you mentioned, one of the teams after him, weren't willing to do that.
And when you compare Lowe's numbers right now to A.J. Burnett, who was the first pitcher the Braves actively sought, this was one of those things that, as people like to say, worked out for the best.
No question. Frank Wren, by the way, carrying around in his back pocket big sheet of paper. Curious as to what it is. It's the bracket for his sons' high school. 2 boys. They play 1st and 3rd, I believe, on their high school team. Landmark Christian. They're in the Final 4 of the state championship.
Well, let's hope they have some good weather to get that in.
You see the GM with this piece of paper, you're wondering, what is that? Trade deals? Let's see how his kid's bracket works out. Ground ball. And Hernandez up with it over to Johnson at 2nd for the final out of the inning. So no damage done despite the runner in Aaron Hill.
10 ground balls for 11 outs so far for Derek Lowe.
Head to the bottom.
Of the Atlanta Braves and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Atlanta Braves.
First pitch from Casey Jansen misses here in the bottom of the fifth. Braves lead it 3-2. This 3-2. This inning's pitch speed brought to you by Bear Advanced. Bear Advanced, better science, better results. Casey Kochman lays off that one.
No more pitches on the hands, please.
Yeah, right.
Omar Infante had surgery yesterday to have a plate inserted in his left hand to repair the fracture in his fifth metacarpal. He'll be out a couple of months. Big loss.
Kochman to the right side, and Hill tosses to Jansen for the first out. And baseball fans around the country might see that injury and not really understand how big that was for the Braves.
Yeah, he was swinging the bat great, doing a good job leading off, and it's just when a guy's going good, when he's swinging the bat as well as Omar was, it's tough to replace those people. I mentioned that Derek Lowe has 10 ground balls for 11 outs. Now Casey Jansen does too.
Seen some good baseball last couple of nights between these two teams. Garrett Anderson at the plate now for the Braves. 1-0 the count to him. Professional hitter.
Served into left. Over 2,300 professionally served. Down and away, go away.
Some of the guys got golden arches on his uniform.
He's got a golden pair of hands the way he swings the bat.
It's always nice to see him get on base, and then this guy comes up behind him. Brian McCann. Straight up in the air. 3 Blue Jays approaching, including the pitcher Jansen, but finally Barajas takes control and hauls it in for the second out of the inning.
It's kind of funny when you've got a guy like Jansen, who again in his collegiate career was an infielder, an outfielder. It's tough for them to give up the responsibility of having to make a play. That was kind of an in-between pop-up in distance and in height. He didn't want to let it drop, so it's hard for him to lay off and let the catcher make the play. He's there.
He's got to get out of there, right?
Well,
I mean, he shouldn't be anywhere near that ball, right?
But again, he's an athlete. He doesn't want to run the risk of it dropping. He didn't know if Barajas was going to get there. Once Rod started calling it, then he stopped.
That brings up Martin Prado. 1-0. Yeah, I mean, that you teach that to high school kids and younger. Pitcher stays out of the way, let the fielders hit. As you mentioned, this guy from a fielder. You've gotten that yet. Grounded to Hill at second. He'll go over to first and quickly ends the inning. So 1 hit, 1 stranded, still 3-2. Braves lead it as we head to the 6th inning.
Julia Robertson, My Best Friend's Wedding, Sunday at 8 on Peachtree TV.
We go to the 6th inning, 3-2 Atlanta, our score. Let's take a look at the Braves' upcoming schedule, brought to you by AirTran Airways. Go. There's nothing stopping you. Tomorrow, 1:35, first pitch. Fox Sports South will be on the air at 1 o'clock with the pregame show. John Chambia and I'll have that for you. And then on the road, 3 at San Francisco. Check the starting times there, Eastern time, all on Sports South. Braves finish up the road trip with 4 in Phoenix against the Diamondbacks.
And Vernon Wells leading things off for the Blue Jays here in the 6th inning. I think obviously a positive, Joe, that we have played 5 innings of baseball here today because there was some doubt. The doubt apparent along the horizon for us here at Turner Field right now.
Yeah, there's still a lot of threatening weather down south of us that's supposed to be coming this way, but very slowly. Hopefully it'll break up before it gets here.
2-1 now to Wells. You mentioned Tom Glavine was scheduled to pitch in Gwinnett. They had rain and were delayed there.
But it has started, and the report, Tommy's supposed to pitch 3 innings or a pitch limit. I forget what the pitch limit was, but he was hoping to throw 3 innings. His 2 innings of work so far, 2 hits, no runs, no walks, 1 strikeout.
Very promising for the Atlanta Braves. Grounded to Hernandez. 1 down. I say very promising, Joe. I think there was still a lot of people that thought that might be a coin toss as to whether Glavine was going to pitch again. He said if he had any setback at all, he's probably going to retire.
No, and he's been so excited, I think, about how his shoulder has responded with that time off after the incident swinging the bat in Mississippi. So all signs are good.
And really amazing the situation that the Braves have this year on the mound compared to last year when you look at the potential of him coming back. Lead steps up, takes the first pitch away. Yeah, we had Medlin up and obviously struggled a little bit in his first outing, but a young pitcher that Bobby Cox obviously hopes is going to be a part of the rotation in the future. And of course Tommy Hanson as well, who is pitching well at AAA, and Tim Hudson potentially back beginning middle of August. I mean, and all the guys doing the job right now, doing a good job.
Charlie Morton. Todd Redmond, those guys at Gwinnett pitching well. And a name that everybody probably is familiar with that the Braves just signed to a minor league deal that's pitching at Gwinnett is Tony Armas Jr. Chris Medlin, you just saw in the picture, has not been officially named to pitch on Tuesday. That's still to be determined. And part of what was going to determine that was Bobby Cox watching him throw in the bullpen today on his side session. So we'll find out tomorrow if he's going to be the guy.
What did you take out of his performance?
A not altogether surprising reaction by a kid who was in the big leagues for the very first time. I thought his start was good for him because
Hernandez up with it and over for the second out.
His first couple of innings were very good, and I even commented that being in big league camp, pitching in the last exhibition game here at Turner Field should help make him more comfortable. But he admitted it just got away from him in the fourth inning, and then he panicked a little bit, and balls were going everywhere. So we all know he's better than that. He knows he's better than that. And I think he'll be that much better for it next time around.
I think a lot of folks hope Bobby Cox liked what he saw today, and that he gets another opportunity to maybe go a little deeper in a game. Scott Rowland at the plate now for the Blue Jays with 2 down here in the top of the 6th. 3-2, Braves lead it. Go ahead run driven across by Derek Lowe. Who misses down low with that one, and the count goes 1-1. Rowland doubled in his last at-bat. How did it do a double play his first time?
When you get that close-up of Scott Rowland's face as he's waiting for the pitch to be delivered, doesn't it look like he'd probably just reach out and take a bite out of the baseball as it went by?
It almost looks like a close-up of a linebacker across the line of scrimmage in a football game.
Talk about some intense eyes.
Two and two.
Kind of a glare.
And the other thing you might compare it to is a relief pitch, a closer. You know, the intensity of a closer. And every manager wants a guy who's going to play hard. No problems there for anybody who's managed Scott Rowland. 3-2 the count. 2 down, top of the 6th. 3-2 Braves lead it. Lifted into center field. Schaefer going back, calling off Francoeur and hauling it in for the last out of the inning. So no damage done. 3 up and 3 down. Braves still lead it 3-2. we go. Atlanta leading at 3-2. The applause you hear for another veteran. It's one of the gentlemen that JJ spoke to before the game. The other four were honored behind the pitcher's mound before the game got underway. Really a nice night tonight at the park.
That was pretty cool because even the Toronto Blue Jays were applauding him. Very nice.
Jeff Francoeur to lead things off for the Braves here in the bottom of the 6th. Doubled and scored back in the 4th. Also singled in the 2nd, 2 for 2 tonight. Hit hard right at the shortstop. Scudero, one down.
That was Ryan Scott from Marietta that was honored as a hometown hero. So we're very honored to have him here, as well as all the other service men and women on Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, I just it's hard not to get caught up in the festivities this weekend. Really, it is emotional. It was something else to see all the soldiers around the base paths before the start of the game. And again, great job by the folks with the Atlanta Braves to honor the gentleman that they did. Steely Hernandez steps up here in the bottom of the 6th with one down.
Looking for his first major league hit. Be a good time for it.
Walkden was stranded back in the 4th. Mentioned he came up with the opportunity to drive in the go-ahead run. That honor wound up going to Derek Lowe. That slaps it right side. 2 down. That'll bring up Jordan Schaefer, 0 for 2 in the game. Average now at 212. Blue Jays with a player similar to Schaefer, somewhat similar, Travis Snyder, who they actually sent down to AAA because of the interleague play. They decided to take Lind, who plays left field tonight, out of the DH role and have him in the lineup. It was an opportunity to get Snyder some extra at-bats at the AAA level, as he was struggling far worse than Schaefer's struggling. His average down around 140 on the season.
But Jordan's numbers in May have been a tough go for him. He's 11 for 71 this month with his 0 for 2 tonight. That's a 155 average.
Lifts that one into left. But the aforementioned Lind is there to haul it in, and that will end the inning. So 3 up, 3 down for the Braves in the 6th. We'll head to the 7th, still 3-2. Atlanta with the lead.
Braves Baseball on Peachtree TV. Brought to you by the World of Coca-Cola. Where else but the World of Coca-Cola could jog a 7-foot-tall polar bear? Take home a free 8-ounce glass bottle of Coke produced on site. And taste over 60 different beverages from around the world. Make plans to visit the World of Coca-Cola today.
6 innings complete. Braves up by a run. Braves Baseball on Peachtree TV and HD is brought to you by the Georgia Aquarium. There's always something new at the world's largest aquarium. Visit georgiaaquarium.org.
Lyle Overbay, Rod Barajas, and Casey Janssen scheduled to hit here in the 7th for Toronto.
E.J. Ryan is warming up in their pen. Looks like they might hit for him.
One.
There's a guy that was the closer. Scott Downs been closing for them lately.
Overbay 2 walks tonight, scored in the 3rd, stranded in the 4th.
When the Blue Jays went to Sky Dome, now called the Rogers Center, I don't know if there's ever been a team that went from really a worse stadium to the Taj Mahal of baseball in one fell swoop. The Mets came close this year, going from Shea to Citi Field. But Exhibition Stadium in Toronto was a football stadium that was converted for the expansion Blue Jays. It had a football crown on the turf that ran from the third base line through right center field. The turf was in such bad shape there were places where the seams had ripped apart, so they just tacked it down. There were literally tacks in the places where the zippers had ripped. And it was cold playing there in the springtime. So they go to a dome stadium, beautiful facility, and that was rags to riches.
Grounded to Johnson at second, 1 down. Now, listening to you tell that story brought a couple things to my mind quickly. You've got Florida who will make a dramatic change when they get their new stadium. The other thing that comes to mind, your thoughts on Minnesota and the fact that they're not going to have a dome on their new field.
Well, first of all, I think Florida's ballpark's fun to go to. It's just fine. I know it's a football stadium that was converted also, but it's not even in the conversation comparing it to that ballpark, that old park in Toronto. Minnesota, the story is they didn't have enough money. I mean, I don't know what they were thinking about building a new stadium without a dome or waiting until they had enough money to have a dome put on it, but that's going to be testy.
Testy's a good word,
especially in April.
That's what I mean, you looking forward to maybe having to make a trip there?
No.
Fortunately, interleague play doesn't go till May, I guess, right? Barajas grounds it to short. Hernandez, 2 down.
I just in the old ballpark in Minnesota, at old exhibition, excuse me, now I can't think of the name. Metropolitan Stadium, and played against them early in the year, and it was brutally cold and a lot of snow around the outside edges of the field.
Yeah, I just can't fathom what it's going to be like when they go back to that. Yeah, we have a pinch hitter in the game now for Toronto, as we thought might occur with them trailing by a run here in the 7th inning. Inglet, who did come into the game last night to pinch hit for Halladay, will pinch hit for Jansen here in the 7th. Joe Inglet, yet to record a hit this season.
I would say not a bad return for Mr. Jansen. It'll go in the books as a quality start. 6 innings, allowing 3 runs. Did not strike out anybody, but for a guy that hadn't pitched since '07, a good return for Casey Jansen.
Gave up 8 hits. No strikeouts. Interesting. line on him with the no strikeouts and the 1 walk. All those outs. Inglet grounds it to Hernandez at short. And that'll do it. 3 up, 3 down in the 7th for the Braves, as they have retired 7 in a row. We head to the bottom of the 7th. Again, they lead it by a run. A Memorial Day weekend lead for the Braves as we go to the bottom of the 7th, 3-2. The new pitcher on for the Toronto Blue Jays, B.J. Ryan.
Spent a little time on the disabled list. He had a sore left trapezius muscle at the end of April, but in his 3 outings since he came back from the DL, he is not allowed to run. 2 for 4 in save opportunities before that. In his absence, Scott Downs, as I said, was the closer. But this guy signed a big deal coming over as a free agent from Baltimore. And they need him to be healthy, especially in that American League East, where if you've got a lead late, you better hang on to it.
And now it's time to take a look at the Georgia Lottery scorecard, brought to you by the Georgia Lottery. Today could be the day. No pinch hitter for Derek Lowe. Why would you want one?
Yeah, he's the hitting star tonight, too.
2 for 2, drove in the go-ahead run, and he'll see what he can do against B.J. Ryan. A lot of flag waving going on. It's fun to see all the kids, more and more kids out to the park this time of year.
B.J. Ryan out of Bossier City, Louisiana, went to Southwest Louisiana State. 33 years old. 10th year in the big leagues.
Lowe got jammed.
Funny swing here. Fouled it off the umpire, Jerry Davis. He's lucky he didn't foul it off himself.
Again, Braves fans don't see any more balls on the hands. 0-2.
Rock the umpire again. Here is 2 base knocks tonight, as Jerry Davis cuts his eyes at Derek Lowe. Man, a liner up the left side gap his first time up, and then with runners at second and third, he put the Braves on top in the 4th inning. Perfect 2 for 2 night.
And again, a smart piece of hitting, as you pointed out. The back-to-back breaking balls. You saw 2 slow breaking balls in a row and immediately recognized it. Having some words with
Rod Barajas was funny.
Overbay makes a nice play at the Braves dugout for the first out. What was Barajas doing?
Barajas went out to the mound for no apparent reason, just to give Jerry Davis a chance to clear his head. And when he came back, he was basically saying to Jerry Davis, I don't think I'd ever give him another call, something along those lines, and it made Derek Lowe laugh too.
Nice play by Overbay, and we've got one down here in the 7th for the Braves. Brings up the top of the order for Atlanta. Kelly Johnson lined out his last time up, singled and scored in the 3rd. He's 1 for 3.
Getting the rundown on Tom Glavine's outing tonight at Gwinnett. First 2 innings went real well, but the 3rd inning a little rougher. 3 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, a walk and a strikeout. Did give up a homer. But more importantly, a lot of strikes. 56 pitches, 33 strikes.
I like what he said in the paper this morning. They asked him about playing in Gwinnett because it's so close to his home. Driven to right field. Going back is Rios. Forget about it. Solo home run for Kelly Johnson. The Braves now lead it 4-2.
There's no doubt about that one. That carried over into the bullpen behind where the guys sit. Off a lefty, and he continues to just pound left-handed pitchers. First home run for Kelly since April 14th. And the guys in the pen waving it goodbye.
4th of the season for him, and especially with the injury to Infante, as we talked about earlier in the game, Braves really need Kelly Johnson to get it going. That is a good sign.
That was clocked.
Kochman at the plate now, 1-1 to him after it misses low. I was mentioning Glavine. They talked about how close Gwinnett was to his home. He said, yeah, it was an easy drive, but not one I really want to get used to.
No. That home run stirred up the Braves bullpen too. Maybe some guys beginning to get loose as we approach the 8th inning. $27,377 folks on hand tonight. Game 2 of this Memorial Day weekend series. Kochman up the middle. Scudero over for the 2nd out of the inning. Nice play. Beginning to rain harder. It's it bouncing off the bill of B.J. Ryan's cap there.
We started to see the umbrellas popping up all around Turner Field. First offering to Anderson over for a strike. 4 runs on 9 hits, no errors for Atlanta. 2 runs on 5 hits. No errors for Toronto. Again, the Braves won Game 1 of this series behind an outstanding pitching performance from Kenshin Kawakami. Anderson fouls another one back, looking to take 2 in a row from the first place team in the American League East.
Limiting them to 2 runs on 9 hits through 16 innings. That's good work.
The suddenly struggling Blue Jays, this would, if the Braves hold on, mark their 5th straight loss. Had issues up in Boston. You see Peter Moylan and Erica Flaherty working in the bullpen for Atlanta. 2-2 the count now to Anderson.
Going to the Phillies, lost today, giving it up in the 9th inning. Boston leads the Mets 2-1 in the 6th behind Josh Beckett. So if Atlanta, as you said, can hang on to win, and the Red Sox can too, that'd be a most profitable day.
Nothing in the bank for Anderson there as he swings through strike 3. So 3 down here in the 7th. We go to the top of the 8th inning. 4-2 now. The home run by Kelly Johnson puts Atlanta ahead by 2.
There were some other people that asked me the same question today. What does the word TED stand for on the sleeves of the Blue Jays uniforms? And Rick, it stands for Ted Rogers, who was the principal behind the Rogers Center and Rogers Communication, who passed away in the off season. So the principal owner, CEO of the ball club, passed away and was a big loss to the Toronto community.
We go to the 8th inning. Derek Lowe remains on the mound. He's retired 10 of the last 11 batters he has faced. And he will face the top of the order here for the Toronto Blue Jays. Marco Scutaro leading things off in the 8th inning.
Have you got a fast forward button over there? If you do,
hit it.
Send it down to Derek. Rapid fire. Don't even throw it around the infield. Just give it back to him and bring up the next hitter.
Joe referring to the precipitation which is now falling precipitously here at Turner Field.
Wow. That's good wordage this late in the game.
I'd like to keep you on your heels a little bit, you Oklahoma guys. 1-1. You mentioned Rogers, the former owner, reading this week. His son is now officially taken over as the lead for the ownership group. Schaefer going back, and the ball off of Scutaro's back and making the play at the warning track, 1 down.
Play by Jordan. He was kind of drifting on the ball. He didn't want to take his eye off of it, so he had to keep running to his right to get in a position to make that catch over his shoulder. Nice play.
And we're going to get a visit now from Bobby Cox, which probably isn't a visit. Probably means we've seen the last of Derek Lowe.
He's at 97 pitches, and especially with the rain threatening. See if Derek's going to try to talk him into leaving him in.
Bit surprising to see Bobby come out here. He was cruising. He's retired 11 of 12. And indeed, he is going to go to the pen. The crowd under their umbrellas and to their feet for the performance by Derek Lowe. Gives up 2 runs on 5 hits. In 7 1/3 innings of work. This call to the bullpen brought to you by AT&T. Your world delivered. We'll have the new pitcher for you after this timeout. Braves in the form of Peter Moylan.
Peter worked a game against Colorado on the 21st. Gave up a walk, but zeros across otherwise. His ERA down in the 5s as he continues to whittle on that big number that jumped on him at the beginning of the year. And as the rain continues to fall, he needs to work quickly too.
Will face Aaron Hill with 1 out here in the 8th.
14 ground balls for 15 outs for Derek Lowe today.
Ho hum. Come to expect from Derek Lowe when he takes the hill for the Braves. 1-0 to Hill. The Braves apparently not taking any chances either, with Rafael Soriano working should Moylan struggle right away. (2-0) the count to Hill.
Peter's been missing to that same spot quite a bit in recent outings, Mark, and it looked like, just guessing, that perhaps Roger McDowell was indicating to McCann, just set up in the middle of the plate. Don't try to work to the corners, because the ball's moving so much, Peter can't keep it in there for strikes.
That one over, 3-1.
Hasn't walked a ton of guys in recent outings, just one in his last 4 outings. But behind in the count quite a bit.
Misses in that same spot. The go-ahead run comes to the plate, or the tying run comes to the plate in the form of Alex Rios.
And that's just what you don't want to have happen if you're Peter, is come in and walk the first guy you face in a 2-run game with the middle of their order up.
Rios struck out the first, flied out to right in the 3rd, reached on a fielder's choice in the 5th. Only 2 stolen bases for Hill standing at first. Obviously his run not the important one. Modest lead at first, 1-0.
Fans impatient here with Peter.
Well, they're sitting in the rain.
Yeah, part of it is that.
One and one. Get a Slate Bronx cheer here in Atlanta. And Rios can do damage. 5 homers, 10 doubles, 21 RBIs coming into the game. Got some pop in his bat.
Blue Jays in a tough part of their schedule. Mentioned that they hadn't really played much against the American League East. Got swept by Boston before coming here. They go to Baltimore from Atlanta. That should help. But then go home and play Boston again. So not good.
And they also recently lost 2 out of 3 to the Yankees. And I think that was the one question mark about Toronto, was the fact that they really hadn't played in their division very much with all these wins. 2-1 the count to Rios now. Moylan with the pickoff move. Rain seems to have let up a bit, but it is falling fairly steadily. It's not real heavy right now.
Good pitch there. It had to be more to the middle of the plate to cut and dive into Rios to get him to chase it, to get him to swing at it. And when he's able to do that, Peter gets a lot of right-handers to swing over the top of his sinker because it's so hard.
Is it harder for a pitching coach to work with a guy with an unorthodox delivery?
I would guess it is. I don't know. You know, Roger was a good sinker ball pitcher in his day. Threw a little bit 3/4, almost sidearm, so I'm sure he can relate to it a little bit.
The 2-2 grounded to Hernandez, to Johnson, over to Kochman, and that will end the inning. So he struggled, but he gets the ground ball and gets out of it. No runs on no hits, no errors, no one left on base. Atlanta still leads it 4-2.
Seven and a third strong innings, but that wasn't half of it. 2 base hits for him, including this base hit in the 4th inning that put the Braves on top. So he picks up his first RBI of the year as well. Quite a night for him on the AM/PM plays of the game.
And we've got a new pitcher again for Toronto. B.J. Ryan worked just 1 inning, gave up the homer, and Brian Wolf now enters for the Blue Jays.
Called up May 1st from Las Vegas. He's in 9 games for their AAA team at Las Vegas. First year they've been there. They're called the 51s for Area 51, of course. 0-1 with a 3.46 ERA there.
Of course. 6'3", 225. California guy. Born in Fullerton. Lives in Lake Elsinore, California. So another big boy on the mound for Toronto. They trail it 4-2. And Wolf will face McCann, Prado, and Francoeur here in the bottom of the 8th. They continue to look towards the lights to see if the pace of the rain has increased. Again, it's falling steadily, but it's not a downpour. It's certainly something that they can play through.
It's just wet.
Oh, yeah. And you can also tell by looking in the stands, still plenty of people out. A number of them even without an umbrella. And McCann again looking to bunt with the shift.
I've got an idea that for Brian, that if instead of bunting, just do one of those Baltimore chops. Just slap it that way. He tried to bunt his first time up and beat the shift, and the pitcher made a good play on him. It's not a bad idea here because he can get on base and maybe get an insurance run for the Braves, but just play pepper with that side.
He's going to try to bunt again, right at third base, and wow! Infield hit for Brian McCann.
Didn't try to be too fine with that one, and if you want to call it a bunt, well, it was bunted hard. Pitch was down and in on him too. Watch him handle this here. And that'll get something started. Again, an insurance run here would be huge.
You mentioned it taking almost a swing at it, and he didn't swing, but certainly a bunt, you almost catch the ball with the bat, and he didn't do that either.
It was a little more, somewhere in between, a little bit of a slap at it.
The infield traditional again as Martin Prado comes to the plate. 0 for 3.
Going to hold him on, too. How about that? After swiping a base last night, they've become believers.
Just letting them know we are looking at you. Now, Roy Halladay didn't even take a look yesterday, and Brian said, "You're not going to look, I'm going to run." I mentioned briefly earlier, don't McCann and Francoeur have a little competition? Because Francoeur is so much quicker than McCann is, and yet Francoeur not a big base stealer either.
It's a competition only in a verbal jousting way, and rubbing it in one's nose in it.
Which McCann has had the opportunity to do on several occasions. Prado scoring the bunt as the Braves trying to get a little insurance here and play that ABC baseball that worked so well for them last night in the win.
Some fundamentals. And Martin, a good bunter. Scott Rowland was really taking a chance, so he was charging hard from third base. Martin's capable of pulling one at him.
Over for strike 1 and 2. Is this something you think we're going to see more of than we have in recent years from the Braves? A little more moving the run over, trying to get one run in.
I do, Mark. I think it's something they have to do well. They don't have the sit back and wait for a 3-run homer luxury that they've had in the past. Wow, he's closing in on the leaders among catchers.
1-2 fouled back. And yet, as you and I discussed before the game, not a ton of home runs. You don't see the big base stealer, but they've had success against some pretty good pitchers.
They have. They've had outstanding at bats in the game against Santana and last night against Halladay.
Driven into left. Coming in and making a nice play is Lean, the inexperienced left fielder, making a heck of a play out there for the first out of the inning.
You know, that would have been easy for him to lay back and play it on a hop. He gets a congratulations from Vernon Wells on a nice play. Taking a base hit away from Martin Prado.
Well, this is a guy that came out and got extra work from the coaching staff for the Blue Jays when they first took the field before yesterday's game, because just has not played a lot in the field. And that, exceptional. A good play for a guy who plays there every day. Francoeur, man, almost takes out Brian Wolf as he drives it back up the middle, and 2 on with 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th.
3-hit night for Jeff. Some good swings, especially the double back in the 4th that got the rally started, that put the Braves on top. Fastball down, and again driving it back through the middle. His mindset trying to stay on the ball a little bit longer. First and second, 1 out. Good time here for Diori Hernandez, first base hit of the big leagues, if he can muster it.
0 for 2, walked and was stranded in the 4th. Grounded into a double play back in the 2nd. Grounded out to first his last time up. Although he made Overbay work for it there at first base. He had to go in the hole to make the play. 0-1.
Wolf's throwing hard, 94 on the last pitch. Keeping the ball down pretty well, too.
Coming right after Diori Hernandez, 0-2. Wells playing shallow in center. So is Rios in right.
Be nice to pick up one of those runs and make it a 3-run lead going to the 9th with the 4, 5, and 6 hitters in their lineup due up. And if Mike Gonzalez is coming in on his birthday today, which turns 31, give him a little extra cushion.
Would be the first time he's ever pitched on his birthday. So done that before. Interesting to have a guy who's a reliever who has obviously had plenty of opportunities and never just happened to fall on his birthday.
Yeah, odd.
2-2 the count to Hernandez. 4-2 Braves lead it. 2 on here. Swing and a miss. 2 down. And that'll bring Jordan Schaefer up. We talked about Hernandez and an opportunity for him to get his first big lead hit. You were talking earlier about Schaefer and his struggles. Sometimes a big hit, an important hit, can kind of get the confidence up. And Jordan Schaefer certainly looking for some confidence. 0 for 3 tonight, average down to 210.
He's had 5 RBIs on this homestand and has a chance for at least one more here with a base hit. That's an effort, although it missed badly, to try to keep the ball in on his hands and jam him.
Grounded. Hill over to Scudero, and that will end the inning. So 2 hits, but the Braves cannot get any insurance across. They still lead at 4-2. We head to the 9th. Going to get a full-size Brian McCann replica bat presented by the Home Depot. For the best price on single game tickets, visit Braves.com/tickets or call 800-745-3000. Of course, the codicil here is you must bunt to the left side with that bat if you're going to accept it. Mike Gonzalez in for the Braves here in the 9th to try and close things out. The birthday boy's first offering to Vernon Wells misses 1-0.
Gave up a hit last night, the double to Hill, and he's 1 inning of work, earning his 7th save. But when he comes in to save a game for Atlanta with at least a 2-run lead, meaning 2 or 3-run lead, he is perfect. 16 for 16. And rain pelting.
Has not deterred his rocking. However, the 1-1 misses up and away.
Last night did it with a 1-run lead.
Wells took a hack at that one. 2-2. 0 for 3 for Wells. 3 groundouts. This had been the case for most Blue Jays hitters against Eric Lowe tonight.
So important to get that first guy. Even let him think about bringing the tying run to the plate.
Runs the count full. Lifted high to center field. Schaefer
doesn't. Oh, golly. He didn't know where that was. He lost it. I was just about to say that's going to be a tough play because of the rain. And he kind of had that lost look for a second. And the last, right here. There it is.
Wow. Good thing Wells hit it as high as he did.
Good thing he wears the bill of his cap so that it's flat and catches all the water and it runs off to the sides.
He does wear it a little differently, doesn't he?
He and Chris Medlin have matching hats.
Adam Lead at the plate now for the Blue Jays. First pitch misses down low to him. Singled in his first at bat. Grounded out twice since.
Good fastball. He's throwing hard.
One ball, one strike, one out. Adam Lind, your batter. Schaefer shading him slightly towards left, leaving a bit of a gap in right center. Infield straight away, and again Johnson back on the infield grass. 1-2 the count, one down. Lifted high and deep to right. Francoeur going back at the wall, off the wall. He gets it in quickly. The throw to second, a lot closer than Lean probably thought it could be. He does slide in safely, however, and the Blue Jays will bring the tying run to the plate here in the ninth.
Yeah, but it was close to being out of here, and that's the key. That's the thing, is that if there's nobody on base, the worst in a 2-run lead it could have been was to cut the lead to 1. That ball really jumped off Lynn's bat. So the Blue Jays and that potent offense of theirs will make things a little uncomfortable for Gonzalez and the Braves here in the ninth.
And if there's a guy that can make you uncomfortable, he is at the plate right now. Scott Rowland already doubled in the game back in the fourth and was stranded, 1 for 3. The average at .311, 3 homers, 15 RBIs. Count 1-1.
Rowland didn't face him last night. He's 0 for 5 in his career. And I don't know what was wrong with that one. Good pitch.
Strike 2. Gonzalez does have that closer's persona going.
Oh, he loves it, yeah.
Trots around the mound. Give me the ball back. I'm ready to throw to you. 1-2.
He works in the windup when he doesn't have anybody on base. And I don't know. I think his mechanics are somehow better out of the stretch than they are the windup, because his windup is so wild and crazy coming off the mound. He has at times a little too much follow through to the third base side that causes some control problems.
2-2 now.
Yes, he did. Oh.
First base umpire Brian Gorman says no, he didn't. And Bobby not happy about it.
No, Bobby thought so too.
The question, of course, did he commit? That one was close as well, but ball 4, and Rowland trots down to first base. So the tying run aboard. We are in the ninth. Braves lead at 4-2. 1 out. Lyle Overbay coming to the plate. 2 walks, grounded out his last time up, scored in the third.
Runner at second doesn't mean anything. Runner at first is a guy you're concerned about. So from the outfielder's standpoint, you need to play a little deeper. Make sure the ball doesn't get over your head. Give him a single, but not a double.
First pitch strike. Braves are indeed deep in the outfield, as Joe mentioned.
Gonzalez, sorry, Mark, when he doesn't have any rest, meaning in back-to-back games, he's been outstanding. Just 1 hit allowed in 5 1/3 innings, 7 strikeouts included.
1-1 over for a strike, 1-2. You hope he doesn't get too frustrated here because he has missed. He walks the guy, but he is barely missing, and of course missed on the check swing as well.
Yeah, I thought he had him struck out there. And because this inning is lasting longer than he would like, he's testing the patience of the umpires because of the rain.
Overbay with some success against Gonzalez, 3 for 8 in his career. Grounded right side and through for a base hit. Leaned will round third and score. There will be a play at third as Roland slides in safely. Does not come off the bag as Prado had hoped. First and third, it's 4-3. Braves lead.
And Overbay now 4 for 9 in his career against Mike Gonzalez. Breaking ball that stayed up and out over the plate, and he went out around it and pulled it in the hole. Good play here by Francoeur to make this a close play. Remember, the ball's wet. Woo, got to him slowly, but the throw to third base, a good, quick, strong one. And now, again, another uncomfortable situation with the tying run at third. Rafael Soriano loose in the Braves bullpen.
Rod Barajas at the plate for Toronto. Singled and scored in the third. Takes the first one up high. Ground ball still ends the game. If they could turn the double play.
That got Moylan out of the 8th.
This is high again, 2-0. Boy, those 2 runners left on. He hurt even more right now. Last half an inning for the Braves. 3-0.
Pitcher spot due up next. Kevin Millar, the longtime veteran, has a bat. He's in the on-deck circle. Let's see if Cito Gaston turns Barajas loose here with a chance to tie the game with a fly ball.
Nope, and it's ball 4. Bases now loaded. Barajas at first. Overbay goes to second. Scott Rowland at third. 4-3. Braves lead it, and Kevin Millar will indeed pinch hit here in the ninth.
But he won't be facing Mike Gonzalez.
Bobby Cox taking a slow, disappointing walk out to the mound to take the birthday boy off and tell him, not going to get it done tonight. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we'll have the new pitcher for you. Braves still lead it, although the bases are loaded here in the ninth. 4-3. to be. 4-3 is the score. Bases are loaded, full of Blue Jays, and Rafael Soriano comes on to pitch for Atlanta.
Here are a couple of things to consider with Soriano, who has had some rest. He hasn't pitched in 4 days. But interesting that he has not inherited any runners so far this year. That's surprising. And also for a reliever, that first batter is so important. Of the 18 first batters he's faced, he's retired only 10 of them. He hasn't got any room for anybody here. He's got to come in on his game, firing strikes, and he'll face the veteran, Kevin Millar.
Millar 293 on the season. Fouls the first pitch back.
Millar's only faced him once. He's 1 for 1. He came right out of the dugout swinging, didn't he? Slow runner. If you get him to hit it on the ground, you got a real good chance at a double play.
Swings through it. 0-2.
He's been up there with the bases loaded twice so far this year, and he's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts.
Schaefer shading Millar a bit towards right field, leaving a big gap in left center for the left-handed hitter.
Oh.
Off speed, misses outside.
Pretty good patience by Millar not to offer. Just off the plate, that was a beauty. Not a strike, but a perfect pitch ahead in the count to try to get the hitter to chase it.
Swings through it, strike 3. 2 down in the ninth.
Well, a little high gas. He chased one earlier in the at-bat, so maybe he'll chase another one. Threw it above his hands, and Millar couldn't catch up. Soriano does come in throwing strikes as he needed to.
Brings up the top of the lineup, Marcos Scudero. Flied out to center in his last at-bat, 1 for 4 in the game. Schaefer just received some instruction from the dugout, and he stays same position, slightly towards right field for the right-handed batter. Crowd getting into it here a bit.
Good get over slider for strike 1. Big pitch. Exciting finish last night for the fans. They went home happy. They sat through a couple of innings of rain. They want a repeat of last night.
They are all on their feet, the ones under the umbrellas. The count goes 1-1. In the raincoats and under the umbrellas.
Scudero had a good at bat earlier tonight when he hit the double and drove in 2 runs back in the 3rd inning off of Derek Lowe. Took the pitch that way. Might see him try to do the same thing against Soriano and his slider. He's 3 for 5 on the year with the bases loaded.
The 1-1. Lifted high to left field. Anderson under it. Ball game. The Braves get the win as Rafael Soriano comes in and picks up the birthday boy Mike Gonzalez, getting the save. 4 runs on 11 hits and no errors for the Braves. 3 runs on 7 hits and no errors for the Blue Jays.